Greens. Okay, it's a little bit late tonight. Yeah, it took forever to find a thumbnail for this thing. There's not much on the internet. It's not much. We have all this technology. There's not much going on for it. So, all right. I guess if you're on TikTok twerking, there's a lot there apparently. What have we've gone so far? We've come so far evolution wise. Yeah, it's like going backwards. All right, so this is World War II, alien disclosure, Orion infantry, genetic engineering. So it's not just the Orions are involved with that, but there's other beings involved. But of course, World War II was a basically bringing higher, technology. A lot of our stuff is still connected to the Nazis. Of course, they might not talk about it now. Of course, even rocket technology. I don't think the U.S. even had any rocket technology. Maybe they did. I don't know anything about that, but yeah, the alien energies that are connected to World War II. It wasn't. I guess I don't know. There's other factors involved, of course, involved with World War One. Also was involved with basically our evolution, basically to move us to where we are currently. Um, so there's different ways I was going to go about this. Yeah, so with Hitler's start, he wasn't expecting to become chancellor, and because he was like the right person for that job. Obviously, when you have an incarnation where you're basically a genocidal monster, um, what I'm getting with all of this is like, so if you're a warlord, basically like Hitler, and he's not here currently, so he could be in Orion right now. He's somewhere far away from this planet. In lifetimes after when you do things like that, um, you live lifetimes after that, things you don't want to live. So you get like a McDonald's job or something like that. Doesn't mean that's where Hitler is right now, but you get jobs where you have no power. Basically, it's like or you get your soul erased. But he definitely got some karma for that. But it's just not here. I know people don't believe in karma, but karma does exist. Especially all those people at like 6 million Jews died. They're going to give him some karma. So he's going to live lifetimes where he has no power to do anything for himself. So he's basically either he's helping others or whatever it might be. It's not very clear, but to right a lot of his wrongs. Let's put it that way. He still has no power really. Like decision on where his life goes, it kind of goes where it's going to go. At least that's from my perspective, coming from experience of lifetime of some of these lifetimes you just have to take because nobody wants them. Well, because to help move humanity, because right now, even humanity right now is not really going anywhere, really. I mean, we have parasites running the government, but that's but really, the world pretty much stayed where it is. So it brought in change. Obviously, World War II brought in all this technology and just changed everything, and even medical technologies. All this stuff is connected to World War II. People don't think about it that much, but it pretty much is. So that's when the alien invasion, of course, there's reptilians, there's everybody that was during that time. It just buried. It did, of course, go. It didn't need to go. It went out of hand, obviously, as anything would during that time. So, but to understand the karmic side of those type of things, it's first of all, to take an incarnation to be a genocidal creature and to help evolve society is not, just once again, go with the flow. So, yeah, and even during World War II, even now, you see all the brainwashing here too. It can happen again. easily. You're not seeing it, but you already see it. Police have brainwashing society. The new that was what I was going to put in the title. The New Earth. Of course, Hitler is putting out this whole New Earth thing about the future Earth, the paradise reality. Well, what do you think the New Earth stuff is? Same thing. Oh, we're going to be part of this paradise and all that. And he was selling that all the time. Obviously, people are selling the New Earth nowadays aren't genocidal freaks, but it's kind of the same thing in a lot of ways. You're selling, an empty promise, basically. It's the same thing all over. The New Earth thing really kind of poisoned the whole spiritual community, and it's kind of lost. If you look back at World War II, that's one of the reasons why Hitler became so popular, is because he was selling this utopia. Of course, they went into the Aryan race also, and the same thing is today in some spiritual groups, not all, but some that are called, we're going to go into this new earth, things are going to get better, and it's the same damn thing. So, obviously, some don't want to hear that, but I don't know how we're supposed to evolve when you have, false promises out there like that. Like the Georgia Guidance sounds like that's some kind of win and all of that, and it's not really a win, but people just want to listen to it. But once again, the echo of the past keeps coming back, and people don't want to hear it, but do they realize? And that's too bad. I mean, I don't know how you're going to evolve when you keep doing the same thing over and over again. So they wonder, I was like, wait a minute, if I had a past life where I just saw this utopia, and then, you might doing it again. And that's like the ultimate psyop. So just putting that out there. That doesn't mean that things won't get improved, but some put their high hopes maybe too high. To try to channel the energies of I got a message about the whole thing of alien religions. You see that, and it's right in front of you, basically. So we're going into this. I don't know what we're going into. Future obviously is not clear, but either way, yeah, it can. Clicks are out there and things like that, which is part of the healing process. I mean, not many people have incarnations, but they've been genocidal maniacs. I don't think people here really understand that whole. I mean, I don't see why you need to, but some people have been part of that. Some people have been genocide situations, and they're here right now, wondering why their lives aren't going anywhere. Either they're a part of it, or because like Germany, the Nazis part of the German, a lot of them are here currently, incarnate. Now, some of their lives are actually moving because they weren't like the mastermind of all this. So they might be involved where they have some karma through, but they have a life that actually goes somewhere. But when you're at the top of that, your life's not going anywhere. So yeah, like practically like every citizen of Germany was pretty much part of the army. It's like, holy shit, pretty much from what it looks like. So for the alien energies, I'll just tap into that and see what needs to come through. Of course, there's Orion beings, there's Zeta beings. It's just basically of course, there was Atlantis energy there also, and just like a download, a download for everything to come. I don't know. Let's see. There's still this whole thing about the call and everything. Like we don't lost our minds. The aliens are the reason why we had World War II to begin with. And then this thing about the call and calling all these people to incarnate here is like, and the kids just lost their minds. Like the aliens were here involved with this. So it helped us. I'm not sure if it's helping us. So we have TikTok and everything. We're in a digital dark age currently. So I'm not sure if things have gotten much better, but I don't know. Yes and no, I guess. As I'm talking about my private sessions, schedule. I have a shop here in the middle of some last month. Same situation here. We have a webinar tomorrow. Social network, social behind the scenes. Anybody in there? Yep. So yeah, the World War II stuff. Let's see if there's anything I need to show. Nah. Yeah, I don't need to show anything. This is pretty controversial as it is. Even talking about, I don't know if YouTube's going to censor this thing half the time or whatever it might be. Yeah, it's hard to, humanity obviously is not ready to heal from all this from World War II. So yeah, I got to be careful about some of it. Um, just to look at different aspects of it, probably be a couple hundred years for humanity to finally be able to look at it differently, to see where our progress that came out of it. Obviously, the genocide side of it wasn't. They needed a villain. Basically, obviously, Hitler was more like a spokesperson, obviously, and they needed a villain, so they used the Jews as a villain, and just obviously got out of hand. But either way, it was not. Just. We see all the cults, and that's the thing. People don't believe in spiritual side of things. At least majority, I guess they do to a certain level. But World War II, the Nazis was all spiritual. The whole the cult has a culticism everywhere, all through it. And look what it did. So, and I don't believe some that aren't really ready to accept that how strong it really is here. So they go to the physical stuff and talk about aliens and have a nice video or whatever, and everything's all cute and whatever. But there is another side. I mean, during World War II, it was all magic, all kinds of everything was used, and it worked. So obviously, it's not looked at that way. But the genetic engineering, I mean, we're kind of being engineered now through our food supply and everything. So that hasn't stopped. You can say that those that just took the Nazi knowledge and just started putting everyday life, and they're still here, obviously. Argentina is full of Nazi propaganda energies. South America is just covered with it, pretty much, from what it seems like. So, and it's still there. Yeah, I don't know if they went to them, but they probably did. Who knows? You'll never really get the knowledge of everything. Agartha and everything. I imagine so. They went to all. I mean, if it wasn't for World War II, we wouldn't know about a lot of this stuff either. So you can say even the internet came from World War II technology too. Well, it came from CERN, and CERN is Switzerland and whatever. So something like that. I think CERN is connected to it somehow. All right, we'll connect to World War II alien energies of that time period. The Orion energy, and we go into the New Earth. Yeah, I think they're New Earth stuff. I mean, there's some positive stuff to the New Earth, but some of it is like propaganda. It's the same thing. Like I said, it's selling you this new version of reality, and once again, it's the same thing that was during the Nazis. So, we're already, so I don't know if any of this is helpful at all for anybody. Yeah, you're just seeing the same old tricks, basically. Not exactly the same. You don't see anybody, as a warmonger. That's the only thing we're missing is the war side. But we're seeing everything else, all the other pieces of it. So, okay, all right, we're going to the World War II energies of. Yeah, just different alien beings that are connected to it. Any of them want to say something about it. And then we're going to genetic engineering, or at least Orion. Because Orion is connected to war, of course, it's connected to Mars. So all these different alien beings got involved with it. It's not just one or two. It's a whole bunch of, just. Of course, the aliens are involved with this to do to put us into war, obviously got karma for it. But they knew it, it's like they got to get us going because we weren't going anywhere. Because the Great Depression happens, one way to get us out of the Great Depression is war. And so, the aliens are involved. So there's different perspectives of it. You're always going to get different points of view, but you get the cuddly version of it. Like we just don't know what we're doing and all that, but we have others that are pushing us towards certain situations. So anyway, and like I said, that whole mentality during the Nazis is still here. You already see it in church, you see it in religions, you see it in politics. So it's still like look at the Democratic Party. It was in the Republican Party, now it's the Democratic Party. Same shit. That's all I'm saying. So all right, yeah, it just says downscale. It's just lower scale. That's all. Like I said, some of the police have that mentality. Like we're just dirt bags here, and they're the ones with all the power. When they use it on us, sometimes, not always, but sometimes. That's why they're not liked for obvious reasons. So, anyway. All right, here we go into World War II energies, and okay, let's just figure out. Greetings. We are the Anunnaki. The occult energy is not all Anunnaki, but there is some for yes, genetic engineering to create the perfect man. It is connected to the Nordic beings, but there's also Anunnaki connections. Basically, work that was not finished. So, and of course, the Anunnaki is very connected to the Atlantean energies. And it's just a history of the earth that probably won't ever make complete sense. But the Anunnaki obviously have not left your realities. It's just that we're more behind the scenes. Yes, we are about attractiveness, looks, our energy are connected. We're also connected to France, the French Revolution. Basically, you see how the French were against, society. They didn't care about poverty. That's very Anunnaki. As some of you can probably say, oh, that's where the Anunnaki come. Yes, basically treating humans horribly. That's an Anunnaki trait. Yeah, becoming obsessed with wealth and not caring about everyone else. And that is still on Anunnaki worlds. That's still something we're still battling. So we brought some of it, I think, as part of our contribution. Well, we can get caught up in looks and attractiveness and science and forget about everyone else that we're affecting. But with World War II is just a combination of several beings it was an opportunity to bring a download into the earth, and not a violent one, of course. Uh, but that was the only way for it to be implemented. Obviously, some think the aliens should just appear here, but we have to let humans discover it for themselves. Humans have to discover it, and the way of doing that was war. We can't just show up and give you technology. It doesn't really work that way, but it's like kind of like we're summoned into your reality, you can say. It's going to be controversial looking at it. I mean, obviously, humans received downloads throughout history, the Industrial Revolution, but there's obviously a little bit more that can be. Of course, a lot of corruption during the Great Depression caused World War II. So there was really no good answer for where World War II was going to be. Eventually, it's going to lead to war. So much of those precautions are being stopped currently, held back to a certain level, but not entirely, of course. But the Anunnaki beings, yes, we do feel our DNA is with your reality. And we're not finished with society yet. We can create, you can say, the perfect race. But then again, at what expense? I see some of your royal families have, or some of your individuals would say, have a higher tolerance, meaning that their body, their DNA is more perfected than others. And sometimes it's a common people that have better DNA than your royal families. It happens quite a lot, actually. Well, at one time they were royalty, and then they got then they lost that power, and so they're still within society with better DNA than your most powerful people here on this earth. So I think some of you see that energy at this time. Let's see. Greetings. We have the Atlanteans. There is still much that human process, your knowledge has not received yet. Much has to be kept back, but some is being remembered, but there's still a great deal that some of it is also false memories of the past. There's always going to and who judges what is true and what is not? Who is in charge? Those are in charge, of your spiritual group. Some of them are Anunnaki beings. And ruling the word of the day, and even waiting for their own demise themselves, because they realize they have to be careful what they put out. They have to put truth out there every once in a while, but they are swaying the knowledge, meaning that knowledge is found but then kept secret. But every now and then they have to put it out there to your society, and usually it's better when people don't believe it. That way they don't, because it's a complicated situation, but there is knowledge that can be accessed that can link you basically to your Earth's history and even activate your own DNA, which many of you are actually doing, but you're careful about it. You want to take out society too quickly. Well, because you can activate yourself where you can heal all your diseases instantly just by having knowledge. You just know things. A single word can change your whole body structure completely. And you can connect to the higher dimensions, but also possibly even flying for some of you, if that is something that you access within your DNA. But a single word. Usually those words are kept back. And sometimes there are foreign words, meaning they're spoken in another language. This is another reason why languages were destroyed in your past. There was telepathic energy, but there's a lot of languages in your past, so I'm not going to go into detail, that were actually activation words. That can get you to do all of these things. Of course, languages are forgotten and DNA within the humans were erased, and it goes on and on with that. And there was a breeding of humans in the past. That's why you're all very similar. Yeah, kind of manufactured, you can say. Why you're all have the same DNA structure to a certain level, not exactly. So yeah, it's not a pretty past. And I think some of you have some memories of that. Because you're all pretty much you're all unique, but you all have similar structures of your DNA patterns and everything. So yeah, when you hear about the past, ancient past, it's I don't know, it's you're not going to be happy about it. Those things. Greetings, you. We are fairies from Agartha. We are of a heightened DNA. Realize there are beings here that have potent DNA that is, you can say, perfect, where elemental beings were manipulated during your Atlantean times and spliced for your elites to control. Some of you possibly remember of just basically like being perfect, basically, at least on a body structure level. And so your world is trying to remember itself. And a lot of it is in Agartha. Of course, you can just access the knowledge just by channeling the vibrations of it, or memories to come back of when you were. Obviously, there's different versions of perfect, but where you didn't have illnesses, where your body is where you want it to be. You don't necessarily have to be the most attractive person in the world, but you're basically at the body structure that you feel is right for you, where you can think where you want to think. You're at the level where everything within yourself works smoothly. Let's put it that way. It's not always about looks. It's just where you're at your highest vibration. Let's put it that way. And a lot of that is in Agartha, beings that have DNA that your world can actually use to upgrade itself. And it's kept away because it can be too potent, it can be too powerful for humans. as you go into this. But you can't access it through your own consciousness. It's speaking about it. You can actually just access it astrally and just feel like you are bringing healing energy to yourself. At least to a certain level. There are certain contracts where it's not going to allow healing at a certain level, at a completely. Some are allowed to heal themselves completely, but not everyone, because there's contracts that came through astrally. And some of it's karmic related, but some of it is like you have to keep yourself deactivated while you're here on Earth. And once again, I'm putting memories out there for you to remember that. And yes, some of you are here to bring in controversial information to this world that hasn't been completely activated just yet. Yes, such as the gods, different families of the gods, and that alone can be very controversial because somebody put gods on a pedestal and all that. But gods, yes, can seem that way, but they have problems of their own. They have difficulties. They have all kinds of. Obviously, people aren't going to agree with that. But some of you have been in those positions yourselves. Sometimes being a god being, sometimes what it's cracked up to be. Sometimes being just a regular person is, think of it as like some people choose rich or poor. Sometimes it's better to be poor than rich because when you're rich, you have all these difficulties, same as a God situation to a certain level. It's not exactly the same, but you get kind of an idea of that. So the God complex definitely does exist. And coming down from that takes forever. For some can just turn it off, others hold on to it forever. So different beings, the World War II energy, there's different points of view of World War II. It's not always going to be. It's just basically like an opening of your Earth to different extraterrestrial beings, where they just did whatever they had to do here. And yes, there's a high death count, but also in the rebirth, those that are born again here after the massive death brought in a lot of the new DNA and activations and knowledge and chakra energies and akashic knowledge and so on. You're bringing, so you know how to use technology, so you know how to live this new reality. So think of it as a reset, a violent reset. And the reset you're going on now is very subtle compared to what you've been through the past. Vietnam was a reset also. That was an attack. Of course, World War II was an attack also. But Vietnam was very definitely an attack. And one that's still going on today. Vietnam, in a lot of ways, is more toxic than World War II. World War II was bad. Vietnam was more of just souls are still healing from that. They're still, because it's kind of like an insectoid war. Your Vietnam is more like your Orion war, where it was just dirty. World War II was dirty, but Vietnam was worse in a lot of ways. It has such a psychological effect that some are still healing from those timelines. And might, even after this lifetime, continue on to feel the pain of that. So why many of you incarnated here is to heal a lot of this. It might not be the most. Yes, everyone's healing to some level. Yes, well, because of the recent wars you've been through, but not just that. It's also galactic wars are connected to these wars. So World War II, there were wars on other realities that were going on, also. And some of you can slightly remember it without going into full details of that. Some have color, add color to it, even fantasize, make things up about it. Well, that's to heal from the traumas of it. Yes, you might see yourself galactically, a secret space program doing all these wonderful things when some couldn't even move. They were immobilized. So they can go into an astral realm and see themselves as this great fighter. But in truth, some of them lost their lives in the other wars connected to World War II. So there's a lot of truths there that are not the easiest to access. Meaning you can die in another reality, like during World War II as an alien being, and you can create this other reality or go into another dimension. Not to say it's not real, but there are multiple dimensions here that are confusing, as some of you know.